There are moments in life when something important is happening behind the scenes of your awareness, while you continue living your daily routine, speaking your words, and making your choices. Somewhere in another person's mind, a quiet storm may be forming. Someone may be reflecting deeply about you, about your presence in their life, and about what you truly mean to them. The human psyche rarely reveals its deepest processes immediately. Often decisions about love, distance, commitment, or departure grow slowly in the unconscious before they finally reach the surface of action. When someone begins to make a serious decision about you, it is rarely sudden. The mind revisits memories again and again. Small moments you shared together gain unexpected weight. Words that once seemed ordinary become symbols. A laugh, a silence, a disagreement, or a kind gesture may now hold meaning that was not fully understood at the time. In the inner world of that person, these memories are being arranged like pieces of a puzzle, forming a clearer picture of what you represent in their emotional life. Human beings are constantly balancing two powerful forces, the desire for connection and the fear of vulnerability. When someone is deciding something important about you, they are likely wrestling with these two forces. Part of them may feel drawn toward you, recognizing the comfort, inspiration, or emotional depth you bring into their life. Another part may hesitate, questioning whether they are ready for the responsibility, honesty, or transformation that comes with truly choosing someone. What is fascinating about these inner decisions is that they often reveal themselves subtly before they become visible. The person may start observing you more closely. They may recall your words long after the conversation ends. They might notice the way you react to challenges, how you treat others, and how you carry yourself in moments of pressure. In truth, they are searching for meaning. They are trying to understand whether your presence aligns with the deeper direction of their life. Sometimes distance is part of this process. When someone steps back, it is not always rejection. Distance can be a psychological space where the mind tries to see clearly without the influence of constant emotion. In that space, people ask themselves difficult questions. What does this person mean to me? What would my life look like with them? What would it look like without them? These questions are not easy because they touch the deepest layers of identity and desire. You may not see this struggle directly, but its effects eventually surface. Decisions born from deep reflection carry a different energy than impulsive choices. They appear with clarity. When a person finally understands what you represent in their life, their actions begin to reflect that realization. They either move closer with sincerity and intention, or they step away with a quiet acceptance that the path must change. The important truth is that your role in this process is not to chase the decision or force its outcome. Your role is simply to remain authentic. When you live honestly, expressing your real thoughts and values, you give others the clearest opportunity to understand who you truly are. Authentic presence allows others to make decisions based on truth rather than illusion. Life is full of unseen psychological movements like this. While you move forward on your own path, someone else may be standing at a crossroads where your presence is one of the most important factors in their decision. The outcome of that decision will reveal itself in time, and when it does, it will show whether your paths were meant to grow together or whether they were only meant to intersect briefly before continuing in different directions. Either way, such moments remind us of something profound. Every connection we form has the power to influence the inner world of another human being more deeply than we may ever realize. Important decisions about relationships rarely happen in loud, dramatic moments. More often, they develop quietly within the inner world of a person's thoughts and emotions. While life continues normally on the outside, conversations, daily routines, and ordinary interactions, something deeper may be unfolding beneath the surface. The human mind tends to process emotional connections slowly, revisiting memories, feelings, and experiences in ways that are not immediately visible to others. What appears calm or unchanged externally may actually be a period of deep psychological reflection. When someone begins to question or evaluate a relationship, their mind often turns inward. They replay past moments, sometimes focusing on details that once seemed insignificant. A simple conversation, a thoughtful gesture, or even a moment of silence can suddenly take on new meaning. The mind tries to understand what these moments reveal about the connection. In this process, emotions and logic begin to interact. One part of the person may feel drawn toward the warmth and familiarity the relationship brings, while another part may question the risks, responsibilities, or future implications involved. This inner dialogue can continue for a long time before any visible change occurs. People rarely announce that they are analyzing their feelings or reconsidering their emotional commitments. Instead, they carry these reflections privately, allowing thoughts to evolve gradually. During this time, the person may become more observant. They might pay closer attention to how the other person behaves, how conflicts are handled, or how support and understanding are expressed. These observations quietly shape the direction of their decision. Human psychology naturally seeks clarity, but emotional clarity is not immediate. It often requires distance, patience, and repeated reflection. Someone might spend days or even weeks turning the same thoughts over in their mind, trying to determine what they truly feel and what the relationship means to their life. The decision forming in their mind is not only about the other person, but also about themselves, their needs, their fears, and the future they imagine. Because these processes are internal, they can remain completely invisible to the person involved. One individual may continue interacting as usual, unaware that the other is standing at an emotional crossroads. Yet within that hidden space of thought and feeling, something significant is taking shape. Eventually, when the person reaches a deeper understanding of their emotions, their decision begins to appear through their actions. What once existed only as silent reflection in the inner world becomes a clear direction in the outer world, revealing the outcome of a long and quiet psychological journey. When someone begins to reflect deeply about you, memories and small shared moments start to gain a significance they may not have had before. The human mind has a unique way of revisiting the past when emotions are involved. Experiences that once seemed simple or ordinary can suddenly carry emotional weight when a person starts thinking seriously about what someone means in their life. A casual conversation, a brief smile, or a moment of understanding may return to their thoughts again and again, gradually becoming symbols of something deeper. The mind does not store memories as fixed events, it often reshapes them based on present feelings. When a person reflects on you with sincerity, their memory begins searching for patterns and meanings within the time you spent together. They may recall the tone of your voice during a meaningful conversation, the way you reacted during a difficult moment, or the quiet support you offered when it mattered most. These details, which once passed naturally in the flow of daily life, begin to stand out as emotional markers. During this process, people often discover feelings they did not fully recognize before. Sometimes affection grows stronger through reflection because the mind begins connecting small experiences into a larger emotional picture. A thoughtful message you sent, the patience you showed during a disagreement, or the comfort of simply being present may suddenly reveal how much those moments mattered. What once seemed like a simple interaction can transform into proof of care, trust, or emotional safety. Reflection also deepens awareness of absence. When someone is not physically present, the mind often fills the space with memories. It replays laughter, conversations, and shared experiences, trying to understand their importance. In that quiet mental space, the person may begin to realize how those moments influence their emotions more than they initially believed. The ordinary becomes extraordinary because it represents connection. The interesting thing about memory is that it tends to highlight the emotional truth of an experience rather than its exact details. When someone reflects deeply about you, their mind may not remember every word that was spoken, but they will remember how they felt around you. The feeling of comfort, excitement, curiosity, or peace becomes the central element of those memories. As these reflections continue, small moments begin forming a narrative about the relationship. The person may start to see the connection in a new light, understanding how these seemingly minor interactions shape their perception of you. In this way, reflection transforms simple memories into meaningful emotional insights, allowing someone to recognize the deeper role you may play in their inner world. Human beings naturally long for connection, yet at the same time they often feel a deep fear of emotional vulnerability. This inner conflict is one of the most common psychological struggles in relationships. On one side, there is a powerful desire to feel understood, valued, and emotionally close to another person. Connection offers warmth, support, and the sense that someone truly sees who we are. It allows people to share their thoughts, dreams, and insecurities while feeling accepted. Because humans are social by nature, this desire for closeness is deeply rooted in the mind and heart. At the same time, vulnerability carries risk. Opening up emotionally means revealing parts of oneself that are usually hidden: fears, past wounds, doubts, and hopes that feel fragile. When someone allows another person to see these deeper layers, they also expose themselves to the possibility of rejection, misunderstanding, or disappointment. The mind instinctively tries to protect itself from these painful outcomes. As a result, even when someone strongly desires connection, another part of them may hesitate, creating distance or uncertainty. This internal tension can make relationships feel confusing. A person may feel drawn toward someone, enjoying their presence and the sense of comfort they bring. Yet when the connection begins to deepen, the fear of being hurt may quietly emerge. The individual may start questioning whether it is safe to trust their feelings or whether opening their heart might lead to emotional pain. These doubts do not necessarily mean the feelings are weak. In many cases, they appear precisely because the connection feels important. People cope with this conflict in different ways. Some may become cautious, revealing their emotions slowly while observing how the other person responds. Others may create emotional distance, even though they secretly wish to feel closer. In certain moments, a person might appear warm and engaged, while at other times they may seem withdrawn or uncertain. This pattern often reflects the ongoing struggle between the need for closeness and the instinct for self-protection. Over time, the mind tries to find balance between these two forces. Trust gradually becomes the key factor that determines which side grows stronger. When someone feels emotionally safe and respected, their fear of vulnerability slowly decreases, allowing the desire for connection to expand. The person begins to feel more comfortable expressing their thoughts and emotions without constant hesitation. This struggle between connection and vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, but a natural part of human psychology. It shows how deeply people value meaningful relationships, while also recognizing the emotional risks involved in opening their inner world to another person. Distance or silence in a relationship is often interpreted as rejection, yet this interpretation is not always accurate. In many situations, silence simply reflects a period of deep thought and emotional processing. Human beings do not always respond to complex feelings immediately. When emotions become intense or confusing, the mind sometimes needs space to reflect, organize thoughts, and understand what is truly being felt. During this period, a person may become quieter or more distant, not because they wish to push someone away, but because they are trying to make sense of their inner world. When someone cares about a connection, decisions regarding that relationship often carry significant emotional weight. Rather than reacting impulsively, some people prefer to step back and examine their feelings carefully. They may revisit past conversations, remember shared experiences, and reflect on how those moments influenced their emotions. This reflective process requires mental space, and silence can become a natural part of that process. It allows a person to temporarily remove themselves from external influences so they can listen more closely to their own thoughts. Silence can also appear when a person is confronting conflicting emotions. They may feel a strong connection while also experiencing fear, uncertainty, or questions about the future. Instead of expressing these complicated feelings immediately, they might withdraw slightly to understand them more clearly. In this quiet space, the mind attempts to find balance between emotion and reason. The individual may ask themselves what the relationship truly means to them and what role it should play in their life moving forward. Another important aspect of silence is that not everyone processes emotions in the same way. Some individuals think out loud and communicate their thoughts quickly, while others prefer to reflect privately before speaking. For people who belong to the second group, silence becomes a necessary stage before clarity appears. Their quietness may actually indicate that they are taking the relationship seriously enough to consider it carefully. Distance can also create perspective. When people step away from constant interaction, they sometimes gain a clearer understanding of their feelings. Without the immediate influence of daily conversations or emotional reactions, they can observe their thoughts more calmly. This temporary separation often reveals whether their feelings are genuine, temporary, or evolving into something deeper. Because of this, silence should not always be viewed as a final answer. It can be part of a longer internal process where someone is searching for emotional clarity. While the outside world may interpret the quietness as absence, within the person's mind an active reflection may be taking place, slowly shaping a decision that will eventually become visible through their actions. Serious decisions in relationships rarely appear suddenly or through dramatic declarations. Instead, They gradually reveal themselves through consistent and intentional actions over time. When a person reaches a meaningful conclusion about someone's place in their life, their behavior begins to reflect that understanding in subtle but clear ways. Words alone can express many things, but genuine decisions are most visible in the patterns of how someone acts day after day. When a person is uncertain, their actions often appear inconsistent. They may express interest one moment and distance the next because their thoughts and emotions are still unsettled. However, once a serious decision begins to form within the mind, that uncertainty slowly fades. The individual's behavior starts aligning with their internal clarity. If they decide that someone truly matters to them, their actions begin to show effort, attention, and presence. They become more willing to invest time, communicate openly, and create space in their life for that person. Intentional actions are different from temporary gestures. Anyone can display kindness or affection in a single moment, but meaningful decisions are revealed through repeated behavior. When someone has truly decided that a relationship is important, they show reliability. They follow through on their words, remain present during difficult moments, and demonstrate a steady commitment to maintaining the connection. These actions may appear simple on the surface, but their consistency carries a powerful message. Time plays an important role in revealing the truth behind decisions. Immediate reactions are often influenced by emotions that change quickly, but decisions that endure over time reflect deeper understanding. As days and weeks pass, the individual continues behaving in ways that support the direction they have chosen. This steady pattern gradually removes doubt because actions become evidence of what they truly feel and believe. In some situations, the clarity of a decision may also appear through distance. If someone concludes that a relationship does not align with their path, their actions will slowly move in another direction. Communication may decrease, involvement may lessen, and the emotional energy once invested in the connection may begin shifting elsewhere. Although this change can be difficult to accept, it still represents a form of clarity emerging through behavior rather than words. Because of this, observing actions over time often reveals more truth than focusing only on promises or explanations. Serious decisions shape the way people show up in each other's lives. Through consistent presence, effort, or even gradual withdrawal, their behavior communicates the outcome of the inner decision they have made. The most powerful response in any relationship situation is authenticity. When someone is making decisions about you or reflecting on what you mean in their life, the most meaningful thing you can offer is your genuine self. Authenticity means expressing your thoughts, values, and personality without trying to reshape them simply to gain approval. It allows the connection to exist on a foundation of truth rather than expectation or performance. Many people feel tempted to adjust their behavior when they sense that someone important is evaluating the relationship. They might try to appear more agreeable, hide certain opinions, or act in ways they believe will make them more desirable. While this approach may create temporary harmony, it often prevents a person from truly being understood. If someone's decision is based on a version of you that is not completely real, the connection may eventually face confusion or disappointment. Authenticity removes that uncertainty because it reveals who you genuinely are from the beginning. When you remain authentic, you give the other person a clear and honest picture of your character. Your strengths, perspectives, and emotional responses become visible without unnecessary filters. This openness allows the other person to form their decision based on reality rather than assumptions. It also creates a sense of emotional clarity within the relationship. Instead of constantly wondering how to act or what to say, you can simply exist as yourself, which naturally builds confidence and inner stability. Authenticity also reflects a deeper form of self-respect. It shows that you value your identity enough not to reshape it for the sake of acceptance. This attitude often creates a quiet strength that others can sense. People are naturally drawn to individuals who are comfortable with who they are, because such confidence suggests emotional maturity and honesty. When someone sees that you are not pretending or seeking validation through constant adjustment, they begin to trust the authenticity of your presence. At the same time, authenticity respects the freedom of the other person to make their own choice. Instead of trying to control how they perceive you, you allow them to experience your real personality and decide how it fits into their life. This approach removes pressure from the connection. Both individuals are free to understand each other without manipulation or hidden expectations. In this way, authenticity becomes a quiet but powerful force in relationships. By simply being who you truly are, You allow decisions to form naturally. The connection then grows, changes, or even fades based on genuine understanding rather than illusion. In the end, life often reminds us that the most meaningful choices are not rushed or forced. They grow quietly within the human mind until clarity finally emerges. Somewhere, someone may be reflecting on what you mean to them, weighing memories, emotions, and possibilities that only they can fully understand. Their silence, their distance, or even their sudden attention may all be part of a deeper process unfolding within them. What truly matters is not trying to control that process, but remaining grounded in who you are. Authenticity has a quiet power that does not need to convince or chase. When you live with honesty and self-respect, you allow others to see your true character without confusion. In that space of truth, real decisions can finally take shape. And when the moment arrives, the answer will reveal itself through actions, not just words. Whether someone chooses to step closer into your life or walk a different path, the clarity will come from the sincerity of that decision. Because the most meaningful relationships are never built on uncertainty or illusion. They are built when two people recognize each other clearly and choose with intention to move forward.